Coming up next on Good Morning El Paso, it's official. University Medical Center and El Paso Children's Hospital are working together. But what does this mean for children's debt? And who's going to end up paying the costs? Then, has Joe Biden made up his mind to run for president or not? And what happened that made Trump say he might not be at the next Republican debate? We'll have more on the presidential race coming up.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC 7's Good Morning El Paso.
Well, good Friday morning, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. Thanks for waking up so early with us today. I'm Hillary Floren. Stephanie Valle has the day off. But good morning. Let's get started with some interesting weather that we're seeing this morning, but not unexpected because Crystal has been talking about these changes coming our way all week long.
Oh yeah, we've been tracking that cold front that is now over our area. We've also been tracking that storm system that's been bringing us moisture to the far west part of our zone. And outside on our clouds and radar map, you can really see the differences already. We've been talking clear, no clouds to track, temperatures very comfortable for the last several days. But I'm not going to say that today. Instead, I'm going to say take a look at all these clouds that are in place over us. We've got scattered showers that are starting to develop to the south of the international border, mostly tracking near the Boot Hill of New Mexico. The reason being that storm system way off to our west, it's actually still pulling that wraparound moisture in this direction. So while it's pumping in from the southwest, it will actually track along to the northwest as it moves forward, meaning the west parts of our viewing zone, best chance of rain for today. On your temperatures, we are at 68 degrees in El Paso and 61 in Las Cruces. Our locations where we have those official readings aren't picking up winds very well, but I can say it is breezy to windy as a result of the cold front that has been pushing through our area. So coming up in a few minutes, we will take a look at that cold front, what it will do to our forecast later today, and we're going to talk about your weekend updates all coming up.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Crystal. And now to the headlines. This morning, the man who was on the run and accused of abducting an elderly woman in Doña Ana County now finds himself behind bars. ABC 7 has learned that he was captured in El Paso. Good morning, El Paso's Denise Olivas is live with the latest on this development. Denise.
Good morning, Hillary. Our newsroom got notification from the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office late last night. The spokeswoman says that Andrew Serna was arrested by an officer of the El Paso Police Department here in El Paso. Serna, seen here, had been on the run since Monday after Doña Ana County Sheriff's officials say that an elderly woman claimed that she saw Serna coming out of her home. Serna allegedly told her he witnessed someone trying to break into her home. He then offered to go with her to the sheriff's office, but that's when things took a different turn for the woman. Investigators say Serna drove her around town before driving to a convenience store where the woman asked for help. Serna is the man believed to be seen here on the store's surveillance camera, and also on that surveillance video is the clerk who helped that woman while inside the convenience store. Serna got in an argument with him and trying to tell the clerk that the elderly woman was his grandmother. But the clerk didn't believe that, and that's when he called 911. So again, 42-year-old Serna has been found here in El Paso and is now behind bars. Hillary, back to you.
Thanks so much, Denise, for that update. Today, Christopher Miranda will learn his sentence for having sex with 3 of his students. The guilty verdict was announced yesterday for the former Eastwood High School gymnastics coach. Christopher Miranda was convicted of an improper relationship, sexual assault, and sexual performance of a child. One of the victims testified Miranda forced her into having sex when he drove her home after practice. We'll have more on that sentencing as it happens. Don't forget to stay tuned for our noon broadcast or check out KVIA.com for more details. And another trial update now, this one for 24-year-old Armando Ozuna. He was charged for the DWI homicide death of Javier Ochoa last year in Chaparral. His sentence, 6 years in prison. However, 4 years were suspended. Ozuna, a county jail employee, lost control of his truck and rolled it off of Luisa Drive. The 20-year-old Ochoa was thrown from the vehicle and later died at UMC. Ozuna and Ochoa had just finished a shift at the jail and had been drinking before that crash happened. Also from Las Cruces, a 22-year-old man convicted of battery, obstructing a peace officer, and resisting arrest, sentenced to 9.5 years in prison. In 2014, a Doña Ana County Sheriff's deputy tried to arrest Davalos Brown for a domestic dispute. Brown struggled with the deputy, who then ended up shooting Brown in the leg when he tried to run off. The prosecution accuses Brown of showing no remorse. They spoke about how he even joked about the victim's injuries in phone conversations with his mother.
He had no remorse at all, that he sort of fashioned himself as a gangster, as this person who could lead this kind of life with no consequences. And if you're saying that kind of stuff to your mother, what are you thinking of our community? And so I think that really struck a chord with both me and the judge.
Before he was sentenced, Brown said he's learned a lot since his arrest and says he wants to be there for his son. $15 million. That's all that El Paso Children's Hospital will be forced to pay back to UMC. Remember, the county hospital has been saying Children's owes it $106 million. Big difference. But that's not all. There's another $33 million UMC is asking for, but that is unsecured debt. That means Children's absolutely has to pay back $15 million first, although there is no set timeline or deadline for that. Now, after that money is paid, UMC would like Children's to pay back the unsecured $33 million when it's profitable and can actually afford to do so. The deal pretty much forgives $58 million with no guarantee if or when UMC will ever see the other $48 million. As for Children's Board, Chair Rosemary Castillo and Secretary Dr. Sada Cheta will continue their serving on the board for 90 days after UMC takes over. But one person who won't be on that board is local businessman Andy Kraftser. As part of the deal, he cannot be appointed to the Children's Board. He has been very critical of the board's decisions, even calling them destructive.
To automatically disqualify one person in our community, that's just flat wrong. I don't care who it is. You know, you just, and solely on the basis that I've been a critic of what they've done. That's just wrong. That's destructive. It's not constructive. It's problematic for our community, and you can't move forward as a community when that is the attitude.
UMC will appoint 4 of the board members, Children's 2, and doctors will select 1. Each appointment must be approved by county commissioners. And it looks like we're all going to just have to wait a little longer to find out if Vice President Joe Biden will actually run for the White House. Meanwhile, the top 2 Republican candidates may sit out this next debate. ABC's Karen Travers has more now from the campaign trail.
Vice President Joe Biden's running away from a straight answer. When will he make up his mind about another presidential bid? Mr. Biden was playing it cool, dodging questions from reporters.
Have you made your decision yet?
Tell you what, good to see you all.
A source close to the vice president tells ABC News he's close to deciding whether to enter the Democratic presidential field. California Senator Barbara Boxer tells Politico, "I just don't think there's a rationale for his campaign. I think he should endorse Hillary." In the Republican race, Ben Carson and Donald Trump may boycott the next GOP debate. The 2 co-signed a letter to CNBC threatening to sit out of the October 28th event unless the cable network holds it to 2 hours. The last GOP debate ran 3 hours. Trump spoke to Fox News Channel's Greta Van Susteren.
It's too much to watch, and they're doing it because they want to make more money.
With fundraising reports for the past 3 months due tonight, Ben Carson's expected to come out on top with about $20 million in campaign contributions. Jeb Bush is second with $13.4 million.
Thank you, San Antonio!
Hillary Clinton leads the Democratic pack with $28 million. Bernie Sanders, who busted a move on the Ellen DeGeneres show, he kicked up $26 million. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
And we'll have more on the presidential race a little later, including details on how Trump is paying for his campaign. But now to a major arrest in the war against ISIS. The hacker who stole the personal information of more than 1,000 military personnel is in custody this morning. Prosecutors claim Ardit Farizi of Kosovo hacked into the files of an American retailer. They say he stole sensitive personal information about more than 1,000 federal employees and members of the U.S. military, and then passed it off to a British ISIS radical. Hussein's Islamic State hacking division created a kill list with that information, posting the names of those military personnel and federal employees online, accompanied by threats on their lives. A live look at traffic right now. It is 6:09. Things are pretty light out at I-10 and Horizon, but getting a little busier on the east side, of course, heading into the city, and the west side, too, heading into the heart of the city. But what do you need to know about carrying a weapon legally in Texas? ABC 7's Andrew J. Polk joins us to take a look at all the laws and requirements. That's coming up. And meteorologist Crystal Cly has that detailed forecast. Good morning.
Good morning. All the changes we've been talking about, they're finally making their way into the region, starting with that cold front. We'll talk more about where it is and where it's heading coming up.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC 7, where news comes first.